About a year and a half ago, we were lamenting just how far the Boks had fallen, and Ryan, we didn't really know how they were going to turn it around. Well, we're sitting here today, and the Boks are in the final of a World Cup, about to play England. What are just your thoughts on just the way the Boks under Rassie Erasmus and Siya Kolisi have managed to turn the ship around? I think one way or another they've already achieved and succeeded in reaching a final. Of course, they're probably going in the slight underdogs against England. I think that could suit them, but there's everything to play for. If they had to come home with that Webb Ellis Cup, it would be a seriously remarkable achievement when we consider how our conversations and our views of the Boks were not that long ago.
Yeah, it's been like the 18-month turnaround has been like incredible, considering the depths that they had kind of sunk to. I remember that 57-0 defeat, which now seems like against the All Blacks, which now seems like a lifetime ago. And to build from that, and to I don't think they've got the best squad at the World Cup, but it's a testament to great coaching, the temperament of the players that they've selected in this squad, that they've gotten this far. Obviously, our success has been built on dominating defense, which is always critical in tournaments like this. Goal kicking has been important for us as well. And there's no question that they go into the final as underdogs. But, I mean, we'll speak about it a little bit more in detail now. But I think they could do something. I think they could do something on Saturday, yeah.
Well, I think the semi-final against Wales was frustrating for large portions of that game. But I don't think the Boks would have had a problem with winning ugly, and that's what they did. They knew it might come down to a kick, and Pollard was amazing from the kicking tee. For me, there's still a massive reliance on Faf de Klerk and those contestable kicks. I'm sure many fans were still very frustrated with
too much of a reliance.
The inaccuracy of some of those. But the Boks play a lot of now, no doubt. But what I really enjoyed was that period where Handré Pollard started to take a little bit more control of proceedings and started to dictate the tempo. So I think if we could just look at that clip in the lead up to the one try the Boks scored, and we see that example of it. So here, Pollard takes the ball flat and gets over the advantage line, and a really nice offload to Malcolm Marx. The Boks had the opportunity to recycle. They go through the phases with their big forwards. Something we've seen more often than not with the guys like Peter Sefton-Toy. Malcolm Marx made a big impact with the bench. But for a second time again here, Pollard receives the ball, attacks the line with purpose, makes enough yardage to even earn the penalty to stress Wales. And then I think if we just pause it there before we move to the next point. But for me, that was a great example of Pollard taking a bit of ownership. And I think the Boks have to do that in the final. They can't just rely on Faf kicking all the time. I think Pollard needs to have that sort of game that identifies what a quality fly half he is. And I don't think it can just be about his kicking. I think he needs to take ownership about actually taking the ball flat and aggressively and dictating how the Boks go at that gain line.
Absolutely. And I mean, people have been calling out for it, right? And understandably, our game plan is built around box kicking and gaining territory that way, whether it be a good contestable kick, even if we don't regain possession, or winning the aerial battle that way. And so Handré has become largely like a peripheral figure almost, which is sad for a player of that talent. And the clip that we're showing now perfectly illustrates what he's capable of. I mean, he's big, he's strong, he can get his hands through the tackles, his spatial awareness is great, and his skills in the tackle is great, like we just saw there now. So certainly, and I mean, I don't know, I'm expecting Eddie Jones to go with Ford and Faddle as a 10-12 combination. Ford is a really gifted player, but if there's one deficiency in his game, it's the physical one. And I think Pollard could exploit that. And I hope to see more of that. We certainly need something at the gain line from Handré.
Yeah. Then the other point is obviously Willie le Roux, for me, is undoubtedly out of form and struggling. But I know we argued about it.
You've been kind.
Very kind. But for me, there are things to his game that are often unseen by the public in terms of the bigger picture with him. For one, it's his defensive organisation, that experience with the Boks system. We often only have two guys back. I think you have to have a fullback with experience and the familiarity with that Boks defensive system. So sometimes it's off-the-ball stuff that isn't noticed. And then a prime example here, which we're going to look at, is his influence sometimes. Obviously, this is the one try from Dialendi, which was his individual brilliance. But we can look here how Willie calls the switch play, and it's his decision to come in from the right and bring the play to the left. Then he fixes a defender and puts Delaney away for that fantastic try. So it wasn't noticed. No one gave Willie praise for that, but it was his experience and decision to switch the play that effectively led to that try. So there are moments and means for him to have a big influence on the game, and I'm expecting Willie to step up and have a really good game. I wanted it in the semi-final. It didn't happen.
Yeah.
He made a number of errors, but I know people are calling for Colby at fullback or a big switch up. I don't see the need in a final. I think it would be a big mistake.
Yeah, if you can just cue that play up again, I disagree with you. Which is fine because it's great to have opposing views in the game. Otherwise, it'd just be boring, man. But if you actually see how he comes over to the left-hand side of the field here. So Wales, I mean, I felt like, so here's the little switch, right? And you can see Willie coming around there. If you pause it right there, Wales clearly have the numbers advantage there. If that's an England side, so Sia will come around here, but he's got to come around to the last feet and then clean from there. You've got a winger here who's not going to clean. Stephen Kitsoff, he's too far away. He's not going to get there before 4 Wales players get there. Against England, they turn over position there, and we 80 meters worse off, in my view. So yes, I mean, like Willie was trying to create something there, but I think it was all down to Delaney who actually set that. That was a moment of, I mean, that was just terrible defending as well. But his power, his strength, his leg drive there was just immense. Against England, that's a dangerous move, and they turn over and we're in trouble. And that's the type of opportunities you don't want to give a side like England. But I take your point. Rassie is not going to change him now. I don't see that happening, and so it's kind of useless to lament those types of things. And I'm not saying that Willie isn't a good player. Last week I said that when he's playing to his potential, he's an asset to the Springboks. And the final is another opportunity for him to hit that ceiling.
Yeah. So Ryan, I know we were chatting off air just about the kind of battle of the coaches and Rassie having to kind of show that he can front up against a wily coach like Eddie Jones and enable the Boks to have a little trick up their sleeve. I want us to look at a clip of what England offer, but maybe you can just provide your views on how Rassie needs to obviously kind of get that battle of the brains and win that one.
Sure. So it's important. Like, this is an important kind of battle in Rassie's career, right? Like Eddie Jones, I think most would argue is the premier coach in world rugby at this point. I mean, his side is beaten Australia and New Zealand on the way to the final, and his side goes into this final as favourites, undoubtedly, given how they demolished New Zealand. And so this is a defining kind of moment in Rassie's career. Based on his team's performance here, we kind of peg where he stands in that picking order, right? And so if you topple Eddie Jones, and Eddie Jones coached England in the final and win the trophy, then there's no question that you kind of go to take that throne. And that's like an interesting subplot for me. But I think we're going to talk about Eddie's genius here.
Yeah. For me, the thing is Eddie played that card last week for England against the All Blacks, saying England are underdogs. Whatever happens, we've done our best.
Right.
I think Rassie can play that card, but he will know what's coming from England. For me, they are the most complete and informed team at this World Cup consistently. Question. And I think they showed it in the first minute here against the All Blacks. So you see the power of their forwards and how they complement the back. So their speed of play, their carries, all over the game line. Itoje is an absolute monster at the breakdown. Look at the speed of pass. They found a way through here with the back three, who are all excellent players. And again, they managed to set the play here perfectly. Ben Youngs is an outstanding scrum half. They play from deep.
Yeah.
The pace on the ball, they've gone from coast to coast. So they're stretching and fracturing that All Blacks defence. And in each carry, they're getting over the advantage line. Right. Their second row is amazing. The tip passes there. Again, you can see that influence of Ford and Farrell, who are both two distributors and playmakers. And again here, it leads straight to a try within the first couple of minutes. So that for me is 7 phases, and you saw there both backs and forwards combining. That's what England are all about. They're not just a one-dimensional team. They've got the power of the forwards, they've got the skill of the backs, they've got a good kicking game, they're super fit, and their defence is amazing. That for me is a complete team. That's why I think they are favourites, and it'll be very difficult for the Boks to dismantle that team. They've got to, for me, offer something a little bit different to what they did against Wales and throughout the tournament. If they kick on England aren't just going to kick it back. They're going to come at them and create something. So the Boks, for me, need to be a little bit more ambitious. They can't go away from the strengths of that defence and their kicking game, but they have to have something else a little bit different. If that's bringing Colby in on strike moves, so be it, or maybe Pollard taking a little bit of more control, as we saw in that one clip. They've got to offer something different for me if they're going to win.
So I agree with all of the points that you make there, but the aspect of the game that gives me a little bit more confidence about the Boks versus England is that move, the momentum that was created in that move was based almost entirely on England dominating the gain line every time. They dominated the tackle, made the meters, and were then able to exploit an unset defensive line. There's no question that the decision-making there was great, especially as the move switched to the left. The cutout pass was exactly what they needed to do, and decision-making under pressure like that speaks to a team that's got kind of temperament, right? But for me, the Boks are dominating. The cornerstone of their whole campaign, the World Cup campaign, was their dominance at the gain line.
Yeah.
If they are able to dominate England at the gain line in the tackle in the way that New Zealand were never able to, that momentum is gone, right? And then England have to look for other ways to create space and scoring opportunities. The irony of what happened in this game for me was England did to New Zealand exactly what New Zealand do to all other teams. They put them under so much pressure that they made them depart from the like their game plan, right? And run from everywhere in an unstructured way. People think New Zealand run from anywhere, anyway. It's like a fallacy. Like, they're quite structured in what they do. The ability to spot the opportunity, when to attack and where to attack is second to none. Well, not second to England, but they made New Zealand panic, which is what New Zealand do to every other team that they play against, and that was based on their dominance at the gain line and the momentum that created for them. So for me, that is the absolute key area of the game for the Springboks. And I think an area of the game where they'll be better than the All Blacks, where they have been better at the All Blacks throughout the tournament, in my view. It's the reason teams have scored so few tries against us. If you can't get the momentum, it's hard to create scoring opportunities. And for me, that's going to be like a key point of the game and why I think South Africa will edge it.
So you are going with maybe a little bit of heart there, but also a little bit of reason in saying South Africa could do it. For me, England are the most complete team and consistent team, just based on looking objectively at how they performed at the World Cup.
Sure,
they are undoubtedly marginal favourites, but in a big final, anything can happen. For me, the factors that could be decisive are the Boks have yet to produce their perfect performance. In the quarters and the semis. They lost the opening game against the All Blacks. They've yet to produce that 80-minute performance. If they manage to do it in the final, they would be the perfect build-up and timing for them to do so. So I still think they've got that perfect performance in them.
Right.
And beyond that as well, I think it's quite nice for them to fly under the radar, come into a game where there aren't as much expectations on them. I just hope that they have, like you say, a plan under Rassie to offer something a little bit different, and maybe to surprise England, not just with their massive defence, but maybe to keep the ball a little bit more, to back themselves, to counter-attack, and to surprise England with their ball-in-hand play. I think they've got the players to do it. And Colby and Pollard, and with Delaney in such good form, I think they need to offer more with ball in hand and look to hold on to possession more than they have done.
Yeah, no question. And the other thing is, can England produce All Black-like performance like back-to-back, right? So they were excellent in the quarterfinal. We spoke off air, but I thought Australia is just like a horribly bad team. So I don't put too much stock in that performance, but the performance against the All Blacks was immense. Can you back that up for a final now? It's going to be interesting to see, and if they do, it says a lot about this team, right, and the way they coach and their mentality. I think that there's, like I mentioned, there's two key areas. I agree with you that the Boks need to have a dimension that they haven't shown yet. But I think that dimension is going to come within the framework of the existing game plan. Like, they need to put together like that perfect performance to beat this England side, or England have to fold badly on the day. I think there's the key here, and we saw that the try that you just showed now was within the first 2 minutes of the game. Riding out and absorbing that pressure, that England kind of emotional kind of thing that they bring into the game, and it's just kind of the sporting psyche, right? The football teams are like that, the cricket teams are like that, and if they get on top of you, they're going to dominate you because it's just going to be overwhelming. So absorbing that pressure early in the game, making sure that we don't fall 2 tries behind, and now we're chasing the game because our tactical approach is not built to chase a game. And so that's one key area for me. And then the gain line, man, that is like super important. Goal kicking, I think, will be critical as well. Tactical kicking, it's interesting for me. I think they'll play forward and faddle, and from time to time they'll try and combat our press from the outside with either of those players kicking in behind, and if we can exploit opportunities like that, maybe if there's a bad kick, Cheslin Colby, Willie le Roux, and some others exploiting that, then we could be in there. But I agree with you, we go into the final as underdogs, but I just think that there's something left in this team's tank. So I'm hoping it shows itself once out there.
Cool. Well, Ryan, thanks. Yes, let's hope so. I mean, the Boks have come a long way, and it looks like it'll be an epic final.
So what are you going? England by?
We're going England by 5.
England by 5.
And you going?
South Africa by 5.